This is an interview for peep-magazine. We're here at a kind of a private art show, but not so much private. And the show's called Oxygen, and it's organised by Sandy Duff and Stu Herring. I think is how you pronounce his name. And we've just came in and we're here with the guy called Struin. I got it kind of right. Can you talk about why you guys are here, and can you talk a bit about the show and what you guys are putting on? And we're going to get someone else to come right in the camera here as well. This is Struin and this is
Roseanne.
If you just want to start, Struin, and chat about why we're here and what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's various sort of reasons about the show, like what it's all about, really. Sometimes it's kind of just a showcase for local artists, graffiti and all the rest of it. So there's some performances as well, which aren't necessarily political. We're here in the capacity with representing We Are United, which is quite new. But basically it's just trying to mobilise around the core issues of resisting the far right in the UK, but more specifically the North East and Newcastle. So we are here in a capacity for anti-racism and anti-fascism. We've got a kind of craftivism space out there where we're encouraging people to join us and make banners, placards, messages that show support, solidarity for refugees, migrants that are pro-migrant rights, pro-human rights, basically just trying to counter some of that narrative that's unfortunately very, very rife across the UK and very nearby to where we are now on a weekly basis for about however many months it's been, since about August last year. Far right demonstrations outside the Newbridge Hotel, which houses asylum seekers.
So is this one of your first kind of incorporate with the arts show against the far right, sorry?
This is one of the first events that We Are United have put on, yeah. So there's been organising going on over the last months, and there was looking for an opportunity to do something that would engage community in a positive way. So celebrating culture, celebrating the whole power of people getting together and supporting each other, being in solidarity with each other, and how powerful it is when actually we use our talents, our resources for good, to support people and to be in solidarity with people. Because I think a lot of the time what's happening in our country at the moment is that people, I think, feel very disengaged because they feel abandoned, they feel left behind. The government hasn't looked after people everywhere, and especially up here in the North East, there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of disengagement, rightfully so, because people feel like they haven't been cared about, they've been left behind. And that can lead people to feel like they're on their own and that they do find community with others. But sometimes it's in places that are about division, so it's about an us and them. And what we're trying to say is actually we're all very much in the same boat. Our anger should be, if anything, against the people who are profiting from that division and who are making a lot of money from things like immigration, housing contracts, from immigration detention centres, from privatised healthcare systems, things like that. That doesn't benefit the everyday person here in the North East. The profits are all going into the pockets of a few very wealthy people. So what we want to try and kind of get across is that actually, like, if we get together, support each other, show community in that way, in practical ways, in meaningful ways, then actually we can achieve a lot together. We can look after each other, and that we don't need to be hating on someone else who's probably equally struggling just like we are,
Yeah, I think also just building on that, the issue of immigration detention centres out with Newcastle, but still within the North East. So I don't know if you've heard of Derwentslade. It used to be called Hassickfield. I believe it's the UK's only female-only detention centre, which is very much a private company. They're profiteering off human misery, basically. And there's a very spirited, very impassioned campaign to shut it down. It's also been for...
No to Hassickfield.
No to Hassickfield, sorry, yes. It's been the site of, on various different names and iterations, but a site of abuse and neglect for a long time, yeah.
So,
how important is it to, incorporate art and activity within underrepresented communities? I mean, I think it is quite largely forgotten about the arts, and there's not a lot of money ploughed into the arts, especially in the North East. I think that's about to change in the next 2 or 3 years with the North East Combined Authority, or ploughing a lot of cash into the North East. Kim Mgcuiness, the new mayor. I don't know how you feel about this, or I don't know how much you know of this, and I don't know if you want to elaborate on what I've just said, and do you know much about it?
I think there's some positive things within the growth plan and within the general ideas about investing into the region, which is definitely necessary. It has been underinvested. Like in the same way that often people in Africa are blamed for their own poverty, when actually Africa was underinvested in and in fact was robbed from, and that's why there is poverty there. Otherwise there would be incredible richness on that continent. The Northeast is similar. This was a region of innovation. This was a region at the forefront of technology. It was a region rich in resources, and it was stripped of that through previous governments who closed those industries without due care for the workforces who relied on them. We absolutely support the idea of investing in our local communities, providing opportunities for young people, making sure that artists and art is accessible to everyone, because as far as I'm concerned, art is a human right, and art is part of who we are as people, as human beings. It comes from us as human beings, and it's a tool that everybody should have access to. Unfortunately, the growth plan also includes things like investment and interaction with arms companies. So one being Pearson Engineering on Scotswood Road, which is owned by an Israeli state-owned company called Raphael. And so it's a site where there are regular protests, because there are a lot of people in our community who don't believe that we should be allowing Israel to make profit that funds genocide and funds the dispossession and the bombing of people now in many countries around the world, not just in Palestine. And so where it comes to things like that, we have a big problem with the growth plan, and the fact that we talk about investing in young people, but we don't care about young people somewhere else in the world who've had their homes, their schools, their universities, their healthcare systems obliterated. We can't just care about what we see as our own. We have to see ourselves as part of the world, because we are part of the world. We always have been, and we always will be. People have always moved across the planet. We are globally connected, more so now than ever before. And therefore, our concern cannot just be for those right next to us, people who look like us. Our concern has to be for everyone, because at the end of the day, that's what our humanity depends on, and that's what our future depends on. So our call to Kim Mgcuiness would be let's not have hypocrisy. If we're going to invest in our young people here, that has to be with responsibility to the impact that might have somewhere else in the world, and it shouldn't be driving young people in the North East into jobs that involve harm.
Wow, brilliant. Well said. Is there anything else that you would like to comment on?
I mean, I think just on that question about the importance of integrating the arts and political education and kind of positive radicalisation, engaging in our common ground, our sense of humanity and empathy. So in terms of We Are United, the kind of framework going forward, as Rosa said, this is kind of more or less the first sort of public-facing outreach kind of event we've been sort of putting on in collaboration with Oxygen and all the other artists involved. But looking ahead, our intention is to put on cultural events, mostly around music, but not necessarily. All kinds of arts basically coming together to fuse the two. And that will be hopefully over the summer moving forward, and not just a kind of one-off box-ticking kind of exercise sort of thing. And the ultimate kind of aim would be to stage something like a kind of major festival in the kind of Rock Against Racism sort of model, taking inspirations not just from that, but other anti-racist, anti-fascist movements around the world that have used arts to mobilise, to empower, and to energise the kind of social movements that we need for progress for everyone.
Guys, brilliant. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Take care.